Hey guys, so in today's video I wanted to show you how I crocheted this little cactus. I actually got inspiration from this little guy, and it's actually a removable pen. And I was looking at this and I thought it looked pretty similar to if you did like back stitching or back post stitching. I'm not really sure what's it called, but this is freehand, so it was my first time making this and I thought it turned out really cute. So it's basically a single crochet, and then you crochet into the back stitches of each chain, and then you just change colors down here, so it is all one piece. And I thought it turned out really cute. It's pretty simple. I just use 4 different types of yarn with 4 different colors. This is all 1 pound yarn, and then yeah, it's pretty simple, so let's get into it. Okay, so to start off I will be using a crochet hook in the size 4.5 millimeters. Also, I have some green yarn, and what we're going to do is we will start off with a slip knot. And the way that I do that is I take my yarn, I twist it in half, and then I take the continuous yarn that I will be working with through my circle and just pull. So now I insert my hook and then tighten that up. Then we're going to do a chain of 16. So a chain is basically yarning over your hook and pulling through. And I will continue to do that until I get my chain of 16. Once you have your chain of 16, you're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook. So not this one here, this one right here. And you will just single crochet. You will single crochet all the way through until you reach the other side. So a single crochet is going into your stitch, yarning over and pulling some through, yarn over and pull through both loops. So you want to continue to do that until you reach this side, or the end of the side. Once you reach the end of the side, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then we're still single crocheting, but we're single crocheting into the back loops only. So this is facing towards us, so the back is on this side. And then you're not going into the first stitch you see there. It's going to be the second one, so this right here. And then you go into the back. You want to do your single crochet. And then you continue doing that all the way through. So I'll show you the back loop again. This is facing us. This is the back. Single crochet. And then I'll do that until I reach the end. This is what it's currently looking like. And what I just showed you is basically what you're going to be doing for that whole top pattern right there. So just to repeat myself, every time you reach the end, you want to chain 1 and then turn your work. And you single crochet only into the back loops. So I'm going to single crochet here. I have my 2 loops, yarn over, and pull through. So only into the back loops. And then I'm going to be doing this for about a row of 19 to get that thickness, and then I'll be back after I finish that. Once you hit 19 rows, this is what it should look like. And now we're going to sew the sides closed, just these 2 right here. And I know it's not like a huge difference with how the sides look, but I want this to be my outside, and I will be flipping my work. So what I'm doing is folding it like this, and then I'm going to sew this side closed, and then I'll flip it inside out. So and when I sew the sides, I'm just single crocheting. So what I'm going to do here is just line up the sides, and then I will just sew this close. So just single crochet along this edge. This whole project is basically single crocheting. I just finished sewing the sides of this, and as you can see, the edges aren't really seamless. Like when you have it in a circle, it will be popping out. So what you want to do now is just flip your work inside out. So basically, I'm just going to turn this around just like that. And then now you can see it looks better. Once you finish turning your work, you want to cut off some excess yarn because we're going to weave the side. So after you cut off your excess yarn, you have your loop here. You can just go ahead and pull it out. And now we're going to weave the top close. So to do that, we're just going to take our hook, and then you can find any open space and pull some of your yarn through the top layer, the top row. And then you want to go in and out. You can, I'm going to skip, let's see, about 2 spaces and then insert some yarn through this side. Then back outside, so we're just weaving the top. And the reason we're weaving the top is because it's going to help us close it where we can just pull the ends. So I'll show you what I mean by that once I get closer to weaving the whole thing closed. Once you weave your yarn around the circle, what you can do now is just pull your string, and then it should naturally close the top. And then don't worry about this top part because we will be covering it with the flower, as you can see there. And actually I think it looks fine just like that because, as you can see, it's not flat, super flat at the top. But what you're going to do here is just make sure you secure this. So I'm gonna insert my yarn back through the cactus and just pull it in the inside. And then I'm just going to secure it by, you know, single crocheting into some of the insides of this. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll start off with the brown. Okay, so before we get started with the brown, I just wanted to show you that I added some eyes on this one to make it a little bit more fun. Also, once you get started with the brown, you do want to just first add some of this fiber fill inside so we can, you know, just keep this firm. And then with the brown, so it's going to be our dirt, you just want to attach it to your piece. And the way that I do that is insert my hook through the bottom piece. I take my brown and I just pull that through. And then I just want to tie it here. And now I'm going to single crochet around the border of this cactus. Okay, so with my first round of the brown, I do have 20 stitches in total. And now moving on to the second round, we're going to single crochet into the front loops only. And for that reason, it's because I want this to kind of curve out, and I feel, I mean, I don't know if that makes a big difference, but that's what I did. So I'm going to take my hook and insert it through the front loop only. And then I will yarn over and single crochet. So I'm going to be doing that all the way around until I reach the stitch marker. So moving on to round 3, we're still single crocheting, but we're going to start off with an increase into the first stitch. So that is 2 single crochets into the first stitch. And then a single crochet into the next stitch. And you're going to repeat those steps all the way through until you reach the stitch marker. So I ended up with 30 stitches in that round, and moving on to the next one, we're going to do another row of increasing. So we're going to start off with an increase, 2 single crochets. And then we'll do our 2 single crochets into the next stitch, 1, and then the stitch after that. And then an increase again, and then 2 single crochets into the next 2 stitches, and then you want to repeat that all the way through. So an increase and then 2 single crochets into the next 2 stitches. Okay, so I currently have 39 stitches for my last round, but to get my 40, I'm going to remove the stitch marker, and I want to change into the color of my pot, which is going to be a lighter brown. So I'm going to take my stitch marker out. And you can go ahead and cut off your brown yarn because we're moving on to a different color now. So going into the last stitch, you just want to insert your hook through the stitch and pull out some of that yarn. So now you want to take your pot color, and then you just want to take that and pull it all the way through. So that's going to be your last stitch. And basically now you have your new color. So I'm just going to pull this out really quick and then add my stitch marker back in, and that is your last stitch. So that is 40 stitches in a round, whatever that was, your last round of the brown. Okay, so before you get started with your new color, you do want to go ahead and secure this. So, you know, just take your two colors and tie it together to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. And then with your new yarn color, you just want to single crochet all the way through, so you'll still end up with 40 stitches in this first round of the light brown color. So once you finish the first round of the light brown row, this is what it should look like. And then what you're going to do now is we're going to single crochet into the back loops only, because we want to start having this curve down. And as you've done earlier, the back loop, it's just going into the middle of the stitch and into the back and single crocheting. So all you want to do is just single crochet into the back loops until you reach the stitch marker, and then we can begin our new round after that. After you go into your back loops only, this is how it should start to curve down. And then you're going to do 2 more rows of single crochet, a normal single crochet, so no back loops, no front loops, a normal single crochet. You'll do 2 more rounds, and then I'll be back right after that. Okay, so at this point, I kind of want my pot to turn in a little bit or curve in a little bit, so kind of it looks like more of a bowl. And the way that I do that is I'm going to decrease right now. So I'm going to do an invisible decrease, and it's just going into the front loops only. I'll insert my hook and pull some yarn through, and then I'll insert my hook through the next loop, pull some more yarn through, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. And then I'm going to single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Oh my god, freaking noise upstairs. So sorry about the noise, guys, but my neighbor has been making noise all morning since 6 a.m. She was vacuuming for 1 whole hour, and then I'm like, oh my god, 6 a.m. though, please. Like, usually if I vacuum, I wait until 9 o'clock because at least by then most people head out to work. But anyways, I just went to go eat some chocolate, and now I'm back. So what I was mentioning earlier is you're just going to be decreasing, and I'll show that one more time. You want to insert your hook through the front loop only, pull some yarn through, go into the next stitch, do the same thing, go into the front loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Then you want to single crochet into the next 2 stitches and repeat until you, oh my god, is she serious? So after you do your 1 round of decreasing, you want to do 2 rounds of pure single crochets to extend the length of your pot. Okay, so I just finished my 2 rounds of single crochets, and now we're going to do a round of decreasing because we want our pot to now close. So to do that, we need to go only into the back loops. So what we're going to do first is decrease into the first stitch. So this is how we're going to do. We're going into the back loops only. You insert your hook and pull some yarn through. You go into the next stitch of the back loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. So next you want to do a single crochet into the back loops. Oh my god, she's so serious. Why is she making so much noise? Okay, next you want to do a decrease again into the back loops only. And then you want to do your single crochet, and you want to repeat that all the way through until you reach your stitch marker. Okay, so now our circle is closing, and what we're going to do from here on out, we don't need our stitch marker anymore because all we're going to do is decrease the entire way through, and there's nothing special to it. We're going to do a normal decreasing, so we can just go through the entire stitch and decrease. Also, You can start stuffing your pattern as well. As you can see with this one, it's a little bit more curved out, like I pulled it out. But for this guy, I kind of want him to sink in. So what I'm gonna do is just not stuff it as much so it doesn't pop out like this one, which I don't mind either way, but I just feel like this guy, he looks better when he's stuffed in like that, especially since he has the eyes. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue to close this and then sew it up, and I'll show you how it looks at the end. Okay, so once you continually decrease, it's going to look like this, and all you have to do is just secure the bottom and then stuff the rest of the yarn inside, and it should look like this. I also went ahead and add the flower. I do have a separate video on how to make this flower, so go ahead and check that out if you want to add this to the top, and then this is how it looks. It's basically the same exact pattern, it just looks different because I didn't stuff it as much, so it doesn't look as big as this one, but it is the same. And yeah, if you don't want it as thick as this, go ahead and make a little baby one and just don't put too much stuffing in the inside. And here's how it looks.